Tonight on the Channel 8 News.
Why influenza may become even more deadly than ever.
Hear more details on the situation in Iraq and discover why James Bond is truly a hit.
The DVD format is getting even closer to extinction.
And learn about the current situation with the Navajo Indians and why the Cubs really think Alfonso Soriano can play center field.
All this and more tonight.
Around the world in 10 minutes.
This is the Channel 8 News. Last Wednesday, it was announced that the Pentagon is getting ready to prepare a proposal which is greater than anything America has seen since the attacks of September 11th. The proposal focuses on the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, but more generally on the war on terrorism, as tied with the Bush administration. The proposal questions many, especially after being delayed for over a week, when the proposal was originally due on November 15th. The figures of the proposal have not yet been made public, nor will until mid-February, as stated by the Pentagon. Added on the existing budget for the following year, it is said that the amount will easily exceed the cost of the Vietnam War at its peak. Adjusted because of inflation, the Vietnam War cost a whopping $121 billion in 1968 alone. It is said that the newfound request will hit some turbulence once hitting Capitol Hill. Predictions state that due to the new Democratic majority, requests for more than $100 billion will easily be discarded. And now to Claire with the current situation in Iraq.
After a massive bomb attack on a Shiite neighborhood 2 weeks ago, many Iraqis are joining the ranks and becoming armed militiamen. The internal war between the Shiite and Sunni in Iraq is becoming increasingly violent. Guns and ammunition are passed out in mosques and homes. Both sides in this civil war say that the conflict is in part due to the distrust of the nation's security forces. Iraq's security forces' reputation has been crippled by corruption. Sunnis complain to the government about how police force is dominated with Shiites, and the Shiites complain to the Iraqi army for not protecting them against car bombs. The war between the Sunni and Shiite is growing larger by the day. With its increasing momentum, and U.S. and Iraqi government have no time to respond. Many Iraqis are taking matters into their own hands. For instance, many Iraqis are joining the Al-Mahat militia, a Shiite force in Sadr City. Overall, the war is worsening and many more are dying daily.
Health and community leaders of Los Angeles County are trying to promote additional education and testing for minorities about AIDS. They claim that Latinos and blacks often learn they have HIV too late for drug treatment to have its full benefit. According to Amy Rock-Wall, a researcher at the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, data collected between 2000 and 2004 shows that 53% of blacks and 72% of Latinos learn they are infected with HIV less than 1 year before they acquire full-blown AIDS. Among whites, this number is only 33%. Statistics show that in 2004, half the people diagnosed with AIDS in Los Angeles County were Latino. Last Friday, World AIDS Day, the Magic Johnson Foundation launched a nationwide campaign to end black HIV and AIDS, setting a goal of reducing the infection rate 50% by 2011. This campaign provided free testing for AIDS last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. HIV and AIDS advocates say that the current ways of reaching and informing at-risk people have not been working for minorities because the current methods mainly focus on white gay men. And now here is Ben with this week's editorial.
During World War II, the federal government made a deal with the Navajo Indians stating that if the tribe allowed uranium mining on its 27,000 square mile reserve, it would be returned in as good condition as received when the work was completed. Instead, when the diggers left in the mid-1960s, the land had open shafts, a contaminated water supply, and piles of radioactive waste. Federal inspectors claimed that they knew about the damage but did little to fix it. What followed was unconceivable. Navajos drank from the contaminated pools, slept on the radioactive floors, and fell in the herds and land irrigated with death. Children suffered mysterious painful illnesses and died young. One couple, Helen and Leonardo Nez, lost 6 of their children after Helen had consumed the poisoned water while pregnant. Partial blame can be laid at the feet of the tribe government, but the mining companies are the ones most to blame. It is the job of the Environmental Protection Agency, that the Bureau of Indian Affairs, to prevent environmental wreckage and safeguard the tribe's interests. Both fell down on the job with tremendous guilt and blame. Cleaning up the land has only barely started. After several unsuccessful efforts to obtain funding, the tribe solicited the EPA's Superfund program to help squeeze money out of the mining companies or drawn from this fund's $1.6 billion cleanup money. But the low population density of the area had prevented Navajos from qualifying for this fund. Now the tribe is once again making the case to have its radioactive land placed on the Superfund list. This should be an EPA priority. If it takes an act of Congress, then fine. The country has a historical and ethical obligation to remove the toxic health hazard it's created on Navajo land. Our government allowed corporations to walk away from properly securing these radioactive sites. So shouldn't our government also be responsible to pay the damages they caused and continue to inflict on these families?
And now to our senior helicopter correspondent, Matthew Wunderlich, in our live HD Skycam, Chopper 8. Matt?
Thank you, Jerry. Below me, police are currently in a hot pursuit of a man who's driving a stolen Mustang. The chase has been going on for about 30 to 35 minutes. The officers seem as though they may soon be trying to hit him in his back so he'll spin out. Spun out!
He's spinning! Wow, that's unbelievable! It looks like they're going to try again.
He may be stopping now. Wow, this is unbelievable. He's just going in reverse. This guy will not give up.
Thank you, Matt. We will be checking back with you later.
This guy just won't give up.
Thank you, Matt. And now to Claire with cultural news.
Our beloved English secret agent has returned. The Debonair with a License to Kill is not only a movie, but a book now. The Man Who Saved Britain by Simon Winder takes us on a tour throughout Bondland. Winder takes apart James Bond and discusses why the movie and the character is such a hit. He states that Bond revived British culture when the country was at its lowest. At the time of severe unemployment, inflation, strikes, and demoralization in the 1950s and 60s, James Bond reminded the country of olden times when a man could save a nation through wisdom and expertise. Winder goes details pertaining on the 007 movie, the cars, the girls, the martinis and exotic locales, and the eye-popping gadgets. Although scholars have criticized Winder for repetition at points during the book, it takes the reader through a vividly described journey in post-war Britain. This book, The Man Who Saved Britain, is now in bookstores.
Due to a new discovery, it is now known that the virus influenza is capable of living for decades and even longer underneath the surface of a lake. A new concern arises, saying that it is thought that the migrating birds over the spring and winter months are now reinfecting animals with the could-be deadly virus. These frozen viruses could potentially be the source of epidemics in the future. Birds are blamed largely because of their global flight paths, spreading the disease amongst a large area. A result of this has been the killing of over 200 birds globally due to their infection of influenza. The dangerous form of the flu, known as H5N1, has spread across Asia into Europe and Africa, killing more than 50% of all those that have been infected. Unlike the common flu, or H1N1, H1N5 is one that could cause a new pandemic, similar to the 1918 epidemic. Unlike the common flu, no one alive has built an immunity to it, causing it to be a major concern.
Do the Cubs really think Alfonso Soriano can play center field? I don't know why they should. In 6 full seasons in the big league, Soriano has never played in this position. If you look beyond the 22 assists he had in left field last year, his first season in the outfield, he didn't even have a particularly good defense go at it. He made 11 errors. Only the Reds' Adam Dunn, a brutal glove, has had more among left fielders. Soriano took a lot of bad routes to balls too, and just flat out misplayed several others. You simply can't hide those kinds of deficiencies in center field, especially in Wrigley with its schedule of Sunday afternoon games, its famed wins, and the imposing brick wall. Yeah, Soriano has the speed to cover the extra ground. He has a strong arm and he's proven to be adaptable, but his lack of experience in center means he'll take his lumps. If he ever makes it that far, that is. Don't be surprised if the Cubs somehow make another move to put Soriano in the corner outfield spot, where he's a little more at home and his arm would be better utilized. Wherever he ends up, defense was clearly a secondary consideration in this signing.
The DVD format, now over a decade old, is getting even closer to extinction. Walmart, the country's #1 seller of DVDs, has announced that they will release a web-based video download service powered by Hewlett-Packard next year. They report that they have all major studios on board. In addition, the internet firm BitTorrent whose technology allows for large files to be distributed at much faster rates than traditional downloads, announced last Wednesday that they will begin to sell TV shows and movies through their website. They have struck deals with 8 media partners, including 20th Century Fox, Paramount, and MTV. DVDs will not be dying anytime soon, but it is now apparent that studios have realized that the future of sales is online. In addition, in the past year alone, Apple, Google, Amazon, and AOL have released online video stores. Media companies such as Sony, CBS, and NBC have also been signing deals with companies like YouTube, now owned by Google, whose services are primarily used for trading unauthorized content, not only because they already have large established user bases, but also because they want to stop content from being illegally distributed. Paramount Pictures Digital Entertainment president Thomas Lipinski said, "You have to be in a position where you make your content available everywhere the consumer is interested in downloading it."
Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight.
Tune in tomorrow for more news.
That's a wrap.